As we go through life, there's peaks and valleys, highs and lows, carbon fiber plated shoes that you love, carbon fiber plated shoes that you hate. And unfortunately today, we have to talk about the carbon fiber plated shoes that I hate, okay? It's just, I have to say it, I don't like these carbon fiber plated shoes and I want to share my distaste for them. Now I have to preface this with a couple of things. I bought all these shoes by myself. All my cold hard-earned Canadian Monopoly money went into buying these shoes. I know, it's quite disappointing, especially because I don't like any of them. And also, this is only my opinion, and I'm a non-elite runner. I'm someone that can't go out there and run a 2:30 marathon or even a 3-hour marathon. I'm more like a 3:30, if that, type of marathoner, maybe like an hour 45 half marathoner. So I'm not an extremely fast type of guy, but you know what? It doesn't really matter how fast you are, in my opinion. You can still enjoy these carbon fiber plated shoes. And if some don't work for you, then you're more than welcome to share your opinions. And that's what I'm doing here today. And also, there's only one shoe on this list that I genuinely hate, but the other two shoes, I don't hate them. They're just like a strong dislike, or the shoe doesn't necessarily agree with me, and it's kind of depressing that it doesn't agree with me because it looks fantastic. And how about we start with the one that I wish I could wear because it looks so fantastic. I have to take you back from when I first got this shoe because it was a strong, fiery, burning sensation of passion. The infatuation was so real when I got it out of the box and I saw its glimmering purple beauty. It was just love at first sight, and when I put it on and laced it up, it was even more love at first squish of the midsole. And then as I went out there and started running, I felt that there was something off about this shoe, but I kept on running. And as I kept on running, my body was screaming at me, Brendon, this is not the one for you. There are so many other beautiful midsoles out there that you could try. But I didn't listen. I kept on pushing forward, and I paid for it when I got in that day. My calves were very tight. My feet, they were so darn sore, but my body and my mind and the strong infatuation and passion that I had for this shoe didn't really care. I didn't care that it was making me hurt. I just wanted to love this shoe because of my shallowness. I just loved the way that it looked. I didn't care that it was bad for me. I just kept on wearing it. And unfortunately, the shoe that's bad for me is the New Balance Fuel Cell RC Elite version 2. Now, this thing, as you can tell, is a beautiful looking shoe, but there's a couple of things that really just make it not agree with me. And number one is the softness of the fuel cell compound in the midsole here. The softness mixed with my non-elite weak ankles is not a great combination. It literally feels like it's trying to break my ankles. Like, I know I put so much love into you and you didn't give any back. You just wanted to break my ankles, and that is totally fine, guys. But honestly, I can't really get on with running in this shoe anymore. And it's a shame because aside from the looks and all that shallow nature, the upper on this thing is amazing. It's so accommodating. If you have wide foot, I think it could really be a good option for you. The midsole here doesn't feel super aggressive, doesn't feel super snappy, and it doesn't feel like something like, I don't know, like the Endorphin Pro over there or the Next Percent. Like the midsole in the New Balance Fuel Cell RC Elite version 2 is just slightly different, way less aggressive. It's kind of like a hybrid carbon fiber plated racing shoe and a daily trainer. Like, I've seen people be able to wear this for normal miles as well. It's not just a carbon fiber plated racing shoe, in my opinion. Doesn't feel like that, but again, I haven't been able to use it to its full potential. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've tried the RC Elite version 2. The RC Elite version 3, or whatever they're gonna call it, they're changing it to an SC. Now that is looking like a beauty. They're widening the base a little bit and all that stuff. So, you know what? I might actually have to call up your brother when he gets released. Yeah. So before we get to the shoe that I genuinely hate with a burning passion, let's talk about another shoe that I don't necessarily like drastically hate. Like if I saw it walking down the street, I wouldn't go punch it in the face, but it's not a shoe that I want to go grab every day. It's not a shoe that really inspires me, and it's a shoe that I spent a lot of money on, which makes it sting even more. The shoe I'm talking about is the Hoka Bondi X. Folks, this is just a big block of foam, super heavy, very big, like it looks like a boat. Like my feet size is only size 10.5 US men, and this thing right here is making me look like I'm more well endowed in the feet than I really am. And it's not only the size of it and the clunkiness that make this shoe not great for me. Honestly, this upper, what they have going on here, Hoka, you need to figure that out if you're gonna make a version 2 of this shoe, because for me, the tongue, I just don't like it. It doesn't come up far enough, and that allows the laces to really dig in and kind of just like knife at the top of my foot, and that's not something I appreciate, okay? I don't want that happening. And the midsole here is extremely, I don't know, I find it pretty firm. not fun to run in. The carbon fiber plate mixed with the standard EVA that they have here, not a fun experience in my opinion. Now, I will say, the reason I don't necessarily hate it and why I wouldn't punch it if I saw it walking down the street is because when you get in sort of a rhythm, it is relatively smooth. So if you can find that rhythm, if you can find that sweet spot, this shoe can be a smooth sensation. Now, what I really hate about this is that I spent 240 Canadian dollars on this. Like, what? It doesn't make any sense for this to be Hoka's most expensive running shoe, and they need to figure that out because, you know what? I'm not gonna buy the version 2 if they don't make drastic changes. And the running shoe that I wanna take into the ring and go 10 rounds, keep on punching it when I see it, is none other than the Brooks Hyperion Elite version 3. Now, this shoe, folks, I've had it for like over a year now. Like, this is a 2020 release, and it's maybe has 15 miles in this thing. And there's a good reason for that. Like, this thing here is probably my least favorite shoe that I've ever bought. And it was almost one of the most expensive ones as well. Like, it's super infuriating when I think about this. And honestly, Brooks hasn't had a great introduction into the super shoe market. Like, their first iteration, the Hyperion Elite version 1, that was like this most confusing thing ever. Apparently it was released like at midnight of the Olympic trials. People bought it, people spent hard-earned money, and then it was just absolutely garbage. They said that it was like gonna last 50 miles and all that good stuff. And then this came out and they kind of redeemed themselves. It seemed to have a bit more fanfare. People enjoyed it a little bit more. But for me, there's a couple of really big downsides for this shoe in particular. Now, the upper, it's okay. Like, the upper's fine. It's pretty accommodating, relatively comfortable. It does dig into my Achilles a little bit, which is like number one why I don't really like it. But then the biggest reason, and why I would actually, if I saw this walking down the street, if I couldn't get you into the boxing ring, you'd be going down on the street, is because this midsole here just does not agree with me at all. I forgot, DNA Flash, I believe this midsole is called, mixed with that carbon fiber plate, honestly just doesn't work for me at all. Now, maybe if you're a bit more of a stronger runner, you could have a bit more force going through your legs, it will react a little bit different. Now, I've heard that before. Mr. Kofuzi actually says that this shoe kind of feels a little bit better when you're putting in a lot of power. Now, these non-elite legs of mine just honestly can't put the power in maybe. That could be something. But honestly, the geometry of this midsole and, like, I don't know, the firmness of it, it really controls how your foot's striking. And I think that that is why this shoe and I just don't get along. It's why he and I might have to go to the boxing ring. It's just like, it's just not very good. And all this really makes me want to do is eat lemon meringue pie. Like, look at the midsole. How do you not just want to not go down to the grocery store and pick up a lemon meringue pie? I want to know, what are the top 3 shoes that you regret buying? These are definitely some of the top 3 shoes that I really regret buying. So please let me know in the comment section down below, what are some shoes that, or any running gear, what is some gear that you purchased recently or in all time that you just regret? All right, folks, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. Really help the channel out a ton with that pesky YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't already and you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button right down below. I would love to have you join the journey.